Hello and welcome to another live stream. Happy Wednesday to you all. I hope you're all having a wonderful week. My voice is still recovering. And now you have a cold.
No, I'm kind of getting out of one also.
We're just all taking turns being sick around here. So, be a little bit of a hacky, coffee, wheezy stream, I guess. So, yeah. Anyway, the important thing is I am a lot better than I was 2 weeks ago when things were awful. Yes. Yes, happy Wednesday to everybody. I'm Miranda, my co-host here, Miss Flo.
Hello.
Want to talk a little bit about this lovely gentleman you've got here on the turntable?
Sure. All right, so I was given Mortarion to paint, which was super exciting because, he's just a big, beautiful model, and the request to have him painted close to the box art, so that is what it's based off of. And it was just really fun because I'm not quite done with it yet. Base isn't done.
Yeah.
But, it's helped me work on a lot of my blending techniques, and it just pushed me in a way that I felt like I haven't been pushed in a while. And so, it's
talking about like the blending under the wing?
Blending under the wing. Well, even
the blue into
the blue.
His white fire? What is that?
It's cloth, but it ends up looking like fire.
It does. It totally looks like blue fire. Okay. Well, Mortarion looks pretty awesome. I think that's definitely worth an applause. Let's say hi to everyone in the chat here. Hello, Mr. Kyle. Thanks for joining us. Jeremy, Good to see you, man. Sneaking a listen while at work. Revok, good to see you. Paul, thank you for being my moderator, as always. We don't have the disembodied voice tonight. He is off entertaining some company we've got this week, so if the sound crackles out, I'm just going to have to run off screen real quick and fix it. But we're just going to assume that won't happen. It'll be fine. Everything's fine. Let's see, what's going on? What are you guys all working on these days, or right now? Got some hobbying going on? Let's see, Paul, currently eBaying some of my gray horde. If I'm never going to paint it, sell it. The hardest part is admitting that you're never going to paint it. We are sitting on a ton of still Mark III old War Machine models, and it's really hard to even think about parting with that, because it's I don't know, I have this, what if I want to put it together? It's a really cool looking model. Well, maybe it'll be useful, or maybe it could be used for a third party thing or whatever. So I feel like it's a really bold step, and probably a positive one if you have limited space, to say, no, I am not going to complete this, and I'm going to give it a home. Whereas the rest of us are just hoarders, basically. I mean, I am.
And you can't really look at me about that, because most of my gray models come with board games, which do get used.
Board games.
But DJ does a lot of printing of models.
Yeah,
so and buys a lot of models. So there's always a lot there, but that's not me necessarily.
Always good times. Let's see. Oh, Paul said I tried once to hobby while modding the stream. It didn't work. Yeah, I guess if you're feeling like you have to kind of read all the comments through, it's hard. Jeremy, I've been slowly attacking my back projects and not trying to add more to it. Not succeeding. What with the new Crud and all, and the chaos coming out. Nice. I saw your lizard man. He looks super cool, so good job. War Budgies, how you doing, man? Your theme music hit while I was playing Hitman, and I thought I was busted in game. That's great. Mr. Kyle says, awesome workflow.
Thank you.
Very exciting. Hey, I haven't seen you in a minute. I hope you're doing all right. Just collecting cameras. Okay. Starting some analog horror stuff, or what? Thomas, celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. We've hit Ruth Chris's steakhouse. Ooh, how lovely. Well, congratulations and happy anniversary to you, Thomas. I love that. War Budgies. Hey, Paul, World of Assassination, Dubai level. Oh, my gosh. Plunder Den, just finished moving into my new house. Now comes the great unpack. I am so excited to double the size of the Plunder Den. Wow, that is fantastic. I'm really glad for you. I think what we moved into our house in 12, and I still have boxes I literally never unpacked. Maybe that's one of those times where you just got to be like, maybe just. The problem is if I open any of those,
you're gonna find things. You're like, oh,
I was looking for it. I wondered what happened to this. I can't possibly part with this. It's become part of the furniture. So yes, the great unpack. That's nice. And I mean, the hardest part's over. Mr. Kyle, tonight working on my scorn as usual. Putting magnets on my recently painted Pain Giver Beast handlers. Oof, love it. JP got rockets. Hi, man. Hoarder? Nay, all my stuff is on shelves. I'd only be a hoarder if it were on the floor and through the house and in unopened boxes and... Oh, Lord, I'm a hoarder. Do you have a trail that goes through your house? It's just like a little, what is it, like a deer trail like through the forests? Oh, goodness. Yeah, no, hoarding's so hard. It's a problem, right? Because you look at each individual model and you know why you bought it usually, or you know why you got it, or if it was a gift or something, and it's just hard to part with because you're like, but it just takes up this much space. And now, yeah, anyway, that happens about 1,000 times over. It's okay, JP got rockets. You have got good company. Our budgie's doing well, kind of hypnotized by those Mortarian wings. They are beautiful. Now, to me, they kind of look fairy princess. I don't know what to say. It's like, it feels very AOS-y to me.
I was kind of surprised by how much color was actually on the model when I was looking at it. Because when you look at the box, you just kind of like, okay. But then as you start copying all the little bits, you're like, wow, that, huh? Wow,
Yeah.
and more color. Okay.
It feels like a fantasy or an Age of Sigmar model. New AOS, I don't know, whatever. It looks so colorful. It's really eye-catching, and yeah, those wings are really pretty. I feel like you'd see them on some chick at a Ren fair. Where are you? There you go. Thomas, I'm painting a trio of ancient monoliths and an Orgoth objective for War Machine. Man, after AdeptiCon this last go-around, I decided if I go next year, I'm going to participate in something War Machine because it looked so fun. Tommy was like, yeah, whenever they were getting together to hear the next mission, I just watched you like off on the side watching them like little orphan who can't come join. Plunder Den, can't wait to get it all set up and start filming new content. You'll get it done, man. Very exciting. I'm all Fujifilm and 100 VF and VI, Sony RX1R, and drooling over Leicas. You know way more about camera stuff than I do, and Tommy's not here to help me with that. So that all sounds really cool. What are you going to do with all these cameras, though? Are you recording something? Do you have a project? Do you have a project that you need wardrobe on? Do you have a project that you want help with? You should definitely let me know. Mandragora, hey, good to see you. I'm sitting on 2 out of 3 completed war dogs I've printed. Ever since I got my Mars 3, I'm in a bind. My last bottles of water-washable resin worked under specific settings, but the new bottle isn't. I'm sure there's like YouTube videos on dealing with maybe some sort of new formula. Oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe they could call the company that sells the resin and ask them. I know whenever we were doing resin pouring, and I know it's not the same as 3D printing, but when we were doing the resin pouring for the clock tower, we were oftentimes on the phone with support for Smooth On, asking about how the chemical interactions might work in given scenarios, because we went through multiple seasons and we were trying to extend the life of the molds, and they were really, really helpful. So that might be worth a try. If you can't call, email them, something. Jeremy, don't worry, I'm a hoarder as well. Oh no, I think
we all are.
If you're a wargamer, like, it's really hard to be a disciplined wargamer. It's part of why it's kind of smart to stick with one game if you can. Not that that necessarily saves you from hoarding a bunch of stuff. Like, my 40K only friend sent me a picture of his den the other day. And it was just, you know, models, a computer, and like a guitar in the corner. And it's like, huh, you can tell where the hobbies are prioritized. There's a lot. So it was cool, but, and that's just one game. So yeah, if you have multiple games, and if you have a 3D printer, I mean, you start making things, and it's exciting, and you can't stop making them. Oh goodness, Mandragora, the third war god would be complete, but the parts are printed distorted, so I need to print replacements for the shoulders and a toe. Oh, okay. JP, that new Colossus from War Machine is looking mighty tempting, and with free magnets for swaps if you pre-order. It's pretty cool, but the Croak, like, shaman dude that Alfonso sent me earlier, he looks honestly like the coolest new model I've seen from them in a while. The Bagadawan, it's a crazy name, and it's fun. He looks super cool. He's a croak. I mean, how do you go wrong with croaks? Jeremy, they're moving it to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have family there, so I may have reason to actually go. Yeah. They are moving it to Milwaukee?
AdeptiCon.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I saw some shots of the new venue. I mean, it looks significantly bigger. The parking situation being alleviated is going to be huge. It's like an extra hour if we still drove into Chicago or flew in or took a train or whatever.
I know, it's like, finally figure out the train, moves it to a different city. Darn it.
You know what?
I mean, it's not that far to actually add on to it. It was just one of those things where it's just like, wow.
I don't know. I know that the move has been needed for a while. Like, people have really felt like they've grown out of that convention. But it was still pretty nice even this go around, like between the two hotels. And I think there's always sort of feels bad about having to go back and forth between two hotels. So having it all in one is nice. But, you know, they've done a pretty good job of, like, kind of making it as accessible for people as they can, I think. Like, the AdeptiCon crew seem like they've always been really focused on making the gaming experience really good. JP, I need to learn the new Wormahordes. I got a deal on Riot Quest and Warcaster Mechanica. Well, I happen to know a place that you can go on the internet where you can learn how to play Warcaster Mechanica in 5 minutes. Just check out Warbudgie's channel where he truly manages to make that work. I was very impressed. It's like, you can't teach that in 5 minutes, and he's all, watch me. Hold my cortex. See? Very exciting. Just black and white photography. You could always go for a model if you're ever available at like 4 a.m. Sometimes I'm awake that late or early. Warbudgies, can we appreciate Chekhov's hand grenade on the table? Yes, thank you. I appreciate somebody noticing that. It's so tempting. This is the prop I brought to AdeptiCon for my Cadian cosplay.
One of the props.
One of the props. And it was so fun because, you know, people are like, oh, I want to take a picture with you. I'd be like, here, I want to hold this grenade. You can pull the pin, it's fine. It's like, probably teaching the kids bad habits right now. But anyway, it's fun. 1 game or 100? JP, I have to go out of town for work this week. It's just a matter of how long is a mystery. Hope I don't have to cancel my paint and take on Saturday. It's 2,000 people, a 2,000 people sized convention. Holy cow.
Wow.
That's significant. Mandragoran, what the heck? I trust this community and will prefer interacting with you all than the strangers on Raging Heroes Discord. So if anyone has ideas on the basic standards for Mars 3, hit me up. Yeah, for sure. Mandragora, help him out. I don't know anything about resin printers. I literally just rely on DJ to do anything with that. We've only ever messed with filament.
And we don't have Mars.
Yeah, you have the
Anycubic.
Anycubic, the photon Anycubic, yeah. Let's see. Paul, I'm totally hoarding hobby stuff. It's time to eBay. Paul is better disciplined than me. He's so good. He goes through like his Patreon and his like YouTube subscriptions. I'm calling you out here for being so tidy. Such a British thing. And like sees who he's, you know, still looking at to support or using or really watching. And it's like, I don't know who I'm subscribed to. I don't know who I'm following on Patreon. I don't know what's going on half the time. So
I do clear out my subscriptions every once in a while.
I will be pretty sure I'm subscribed to someone, randomly have a thought about them after like going a long time without having seen them and just look them up, find I am not subscribed to them because YouTube will unsubscribe you to things. So I've kind of given up on subscribing to a lot of people.
See, what I found is YouTube doesn't unsubscribe me from things, but they'll stop showing me their videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like even on your subscriptions page, where you're specifically trying to look at what you're subscribed to, it just won't show me them.
It's busy telling you what it thinks you need to be watching. So yeah, it's a challenge. It's part of why you're supposed to be putting out content so much and yada yada yada. And all the other things that I'm also bad at. Anyway. Whew. Saw your post in Adams about that. Oh, yeah. Mr. Kyle, I'm really trying to focus on a single army in just War Machine, but hoarding is hard. I've painted somewhat like half of all my bot models. Sales are a nightmare. Exactly. Jack Smithy, hello, welcome. Yeah, sales can be tough because you get this deal or like a Etten game store here in town will do like these flea market events where people can sell off their armies. So that's really good for people kind of trying to clear out. But then if you're looking to buy something, you can get a really good deal.
Even if you're not necessarily looking to buy something.
Usually if you're not necessarily looking for it. But then you come across it and you're like, oh, this is such a great deal, I can't turn it away. And so yeah, you can end up with a lot of models that way. And on the one hand, it's like, oh, what a great deal I got. But on the other hand, it's like, oh, I've got to strip all these models and
look at all the cleaning I got to do.
So much cleaning. But I mean, I got a good collection of tanks out of it. I was like, I don't know, I think it was like $150 for like a huge bin of Imperial Guard stuff. And so there were tanks and sentinels, a crap ton of infantry. I got scions in there. So I've been like picking them out to strip and redo. Oh, Severina Rain was in there. It's like, oh, okay, well, I've got a cool commissar now. So, yeah, anyway. How to play Ravage Star in 5 minutes is the next one. Stay tuned. Mm-hmm. Oh, War Budgies coming out swinging again. And Jeremy being as positive as ever on it. Excuse me. I meant to get a demo of Ravage Star when I was at AdeptiCon. And then
you didn't have time for any demos.
I didn't. I barely got in like half an RPG game of Through the Breach with Aaron, and beyond that, it was just, you know, kind of chatting with different people or.
Let's say we came with them and we only saw them half the time. So.
It's hard, man. It's hard because there's so many people, and you get to catch up with them like only over those like 4 days. Although. It does kind of circle me a little bit into my main topic, as you notice the name of the stream, because I'm complaining about being sick. I've gone out of town, 4 times this year so far? Like January, February, March, and April. We went out of town. And basically every single time I've come home from traveling, I have been under the weather to varying degrees. And this last time was like the worst. So I've been trying to reevaluate, okay, how do you not get horribly sick while traveling? So I was like scouring the internet to try and offer helpful things for interested parties, because I know I'm not the only one who goes and travels. So I was going to read off some of those and get your suggestions on them and see what you have found to work. I have an idea of things that I'm probably doing wrong, like staying up way too late. Not eating right, and not drinking enough water, even though I try to drink enough water. But it's actually kind of hard to do that when you're traveling. Like, I don't know, it's not always easy to find fountains. I know that, like AdeptiCon, the first 2 days we were there, they didn't have just water stations out. That didn't come out until like Friday. And so the rest of the weekend had them. But before that, you had to go just find or procure bottles of water for, $4 a bottle or something. So, not ideal. Let's see. Just my luck. I crap out the day. Voice isn't on. Yeah, I know. Well, to be fair, he doesn't know anything about the resin printer stuff either. But he would have suggestions. I don't know. It honestly sounds like your mixture stuff, not the machine itself. Chuckaroo working on Crocodile Games Spartan hoplites. Ooh, have fun. Have fun. Thunderden, what do you think of the new location for AdeptiCon? I like that there's more hotels and restaurants, and the restaurants look amazing. It looks like I need to bring more cash. Food coma in my future. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it seems necessary. The event was over 8,000 people, or about 8,000 attendees this year, which is enormous. And the Renaissance, you know, they wanted to keep their business. They'd been holding, like, I think the event's been there since at least 2016. So that's a long time there, but the event just grew and grew and grew, and the parking situation was becoming so bad for people. We didn't even have a car. We were just Ubering to every hotel, basically, whenever we wanted. I don't know anything about Milwaukee. Like, I've never been there. But if it's a really big venue, which it seems to be, it's in the center of town, so you've got lots of food options. I could see the hotel, the venue, being a little bit concerned about competing with that. Because, again, if you run a convention, you have to meet a food and drink minimum within those hotels in order to not have some massive bill at the end. So maybe that will make the pricing a little bit more competitive, although that never seems to be how that works. I don't know. But, I mean, it's more options for the attendees. So that'll be good. Parking situation, just relieving the parking situation, it all sounds great. But I know that as soon as the dates were announced, like, all the hotels just already booked up anyway. Like, I don't think you can get a room there already. So some of the problems have stayed the same. I guess it might depend on what some of the hotels nearby will offer. And if that's a pretty easy shuttle ride to this other hotel or what, I don't know. But, I mean, I'm open to it. Like, you know, they didn't do it for any sort of BS reasons. It is because of the size of the convention growing, just they wanted to stay as close as they could. So, you know, I would have the benefit of the doubt, I guess. Like, there's no reason to think it's a bad idea yet. Yes. Very exciting, exactly. I was thinking, I haven't seen Miranda in a while. Maybe she's gonna do a paint chat. Oh, wait, she almost died. Yeah, no, that's a little dramatic. Technically, if I didn't get treated and things got worse, I could have died. But that's, like, way down the road. So, no, I'm just not even going to say that was a risk. It was just miserable for 2 weeks. Let's see. Yeah, it definitely looks like an upgrade, JP, I agree. Paul, as Miranda said, every January 1st, I look at all my YouTube and Insta followers and remove some. Remove my Patreons every 3 months. He's so diligent. Oh, man. Mandragora. I already slowed my first plate printing to ridiculous levels. Jeremy, get a better immune system. Well, see, that's the thing that was pissing me off, right? Because between, like, December and now, I've been sick more times than I have in, like, the last 5 years.
What's funny is that, like, I'm the one who's always had a weak immune system growing up. I was sick all the time.
Yeah.
It made school actually really difficult for me because I'd miss 3 weeks at a time due to,
Good Lord,
like, terrible sicknesses. But
she
lately,
wasn't able to read until 14.
no, I was actually way ahead when it came to that. Turns out when you can't do much and you don't have very many gaming systems or anything, you just sit in bed and
Books.
read when you have
Just
nothing
books are your friend. Got it.
But no, like, I didn't get sick at all when I came home from AdeptiCon.
No, and I picked up a bug, and then I think Tommy did. And then after Vegas, we both just flipped out. Horribly out. But
I haven't been traveling nearly as much as you. I think it might also be the rate of traveling that you're doing.
see, that's kind of what I'm thinking, just the frequency. Because if I've never had anything like this quite before, you know, flying is dehydrating, just traveling through airports, just being around thousands and thousands of people every day is, you know, it's gonna just put you out there a lot more. So I'm hoping that when I recover from this, I have, like, the immune system of a junkyard dog and don't have to ever get sick again. That would be the nice, hopeful thing I get from this. 'Cause yeah, I didn't really do anything different than I did like a year ago, but I think the rate of travel has been the biggest impact. Let's see. Maybe I'll do that for my birthday. Oh, yeah, very exciting. Jeremy, I've never once gotten con crud. No, that's good. Paul, are the parts warped, missing parts, failed, stuck to print? Oh, he's going to help you out. He knows what's going on. Albert Pedro Tres, hello and welcome. Good job on the guardsman cosplay. Maybe with the recent news about the female custodians, there could be more women showing cool custodian cosplays at AdeptiCon. Ugh, I'm not excited about that. Sorry, I'm just not. I mean, you can cosplay as what you want, but it's just such a targeted thing now. Let's see. Yeah, Paul making good habits. Nice. Very exciting. The kids today, Gen Z and Alpha, are used to taking refillable bottles everywhere they go. Yeah. I was pretty good about that for a while, but I'm sort of a reverse klepto in that I will constantly put something down and then forget to pick it back up. There's a lot of things that way. Go back and forth between water, tea, water, tea, water, tea. Andrew, let me see you. Meet Miranda, hope you're feeling better. Evening Flow, Paul, and Disembodied Voice. Hey Andrew, good to see you. No disembodied voice tonight. JP got rockets. Number one way to avoid sick. Wash hands, don't touch face. Anyone that has gone through basic will tell you what happens if the DI sees you touch your face. I don't know. Maybe I do touch my face too much. I don't know. I try not to because you sort of learn that as a teenager. If you don't want acne and stuff like that, like don't touch your face. And so, I don't know. Maybe some habits have stuck and some others haven't. I don't know. I really think I don't drink enough water. I also don't get enough sleep, especially at a convention. I'm getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep instead of like 7. 7 would be good. 8 would be ideal, but I couldn't tell you last time I got 8 hours. Bleh. Or budgies, the parking and hotel situations were insane, yes. And I think the hotel situation is still going to be fairly insane, but, there's only so much you can do about that. Parking being better, that'll be nice. And I wonder if it's cheaper to get a rental car in Milwaukee or Wisconsin. Yeah, like we were looking at a rental car in Chicago, and it was really cost prohibitive. And we still spent a crap ton of money on Ubers. Let's see. 3 hotels with skyways. Oh wow, that definitely is nice. Mandragora, I'm on the Resin Facebook group looking for their printer settings, and I find people complaining the new formula is garbage that fails to print and they no longer sell on Amazon, so I fear I bought a lemon. Well, wait a minute, but just the resin would be the lemon, so you could change out the resin and start over. That it worked before and isn't with this new formula really does seem like that's the issue. Jeremy, to be honest, I would do a new test to see if a setting needs to be adjusted for the new resin you've got. There's a chance you need a longer cure time or slower lift speed. Mr. Kyle, last time I went abroad, I was taking vitamins regularly before the trip. I guess was the first time I didn't come home sick. Yeah, and I've also really looked at upping my vitamins. So it's like zinc and C and D and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know. Just all the things. But that you might not have normally shored up because presumably, when you get sick, you deplete through your vitamins. And if you haven't really restored that back up, then maybe the next time you get sick, it's longer. Or you get sick easier or something like that. So vitamin regimen has definitely been in the works the last month. And then just trying to fix the other things. One of them's activity levels, like keeping up with exercise, which is really hard when you get sick and you get out of your exercise regimen. Then you try to go back and then you can't walk for 2 days because you've overdid it because I don't know how not to do that. That's a whole thing. One of the other things that was kind of mentioned, it was sort of put under the mental health thing of if you're feeling really stressed out, just taking a step back and not being, not just going out so much. And I know for some people, if you're at, say, AdeptiCon for what is it, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 or 5 days. You could take one of those days and just not do the convention that day and just relax and recover in the middle of the convention. Now, part of me feels like that is a waste because you're already there and you just, but I could see that being an investment in keeping yourself from getting too overwhelmed. Catching up on sleep, say, that would be good. Very exciting. I take oodles of vitamins just to stay healthy at work. Yeah, no doubt. Chili dog therapy, just saying. Okay, so while I was in Vegas this last time, I tried scorpion pepper for the first time, and that is too hot for me.
We found her limit.
It's like past ghost pepper, scorpion pepper. And it was like this Nashville chicken sandwich place. So I was like, yeah, I'll get the chicken sandwich. Just give me the hottest one, whatever. Vegas has had nothing for me so far. I got 3 bites in, and I was like, I'd already gone through like 3 cups of water that they give you. I was just kept drinking because it just kept burning at the back of my throat. And I'm like, you know what? This actually doesn't feel pleasant. This is too hot. Because the part of something being hot is the flavor of it, not just the burning. And it was too much. I don't think that's what caused me to get sick, though.
No,
Paul,
spice is actually supposed to help with that.
Yeah, like cayenne pepper and what does it have in it? There's stuff in those spices that can help, yeah. Whether or not that's in scorpion pepper, I have no idea. That was just pain. JP got rockets. Travel stress has a lot to do with it. I always get sick after traveling, especially by plane. Yeah, and, well, we flew to Vegas, I got sick. We took the train to AdeptiCon, I got sick. So I think planes are probably worse in that regard. Just the stress of being in an airport is a lot. Like, I really, really have grown to dislike airports. They're just little sardine cans of people. It's a bit much.
Little sardine cans of unhappy people.
Usually people are pretty friendly, but yeah, there's like a sort of tension of everybody kind of being in a bit of a hurry and a little bit of worry constantly from all passengers that you're going to be harassed by like
Anyone.
just anyone who works for either TSA or the flight on, you carrying a pillow or whether or not that bag counts as carry on or I don't know. It's just there's just stress with that, which we didn't have at all with the plane. I mean, you could pretty much carry. The train. You could pretty much carry as much stuff as you wanted on the train, as much as you could carry onto the train. They didn't care, so that was nice. It was just long. Mr. Kyle, usually when I get terrible sleep over the course of several weeks, I get sick. Maybe the sleeping thing is the key here. So there's always 3 things for me that I can always get 2 and I can never get 3. Get enough sleep, eat well, exercise regularly. I could do any 2 of them pretty regularly, but all 3 and sleep oftentimes is the one that fails because there's just so many projects. You still work full time, like you just got things to do around the house. And it's like none of it's getting done for you. So the only way stuff gets done is if you do it. And the only way you do it is being awake to do it. And therefore, sleep ends up being the thing that takes the hit.
I will be back.
Okay. So yeah, I could definitely see that being the case. And I am sensitive to not getting enough sleep. JP got rockets. Can we talk about that epic blue-white fade on Morty? Flo is absolutely amazing. Oh, she'll come back out and be excited about that. Now, that blue-to-white fade for the fabric here and what's going on with the wing business, it looks good. It's really nice. She did a good job. That was the biggest lesson I learned during COVID. Apparently, I love touching my face. Oh, fair enough, more budgies. Paul, body does a ton of repair and maintenance during your sleep. Losing it loses defenses. It does, and I've got my little like smartwatch thingy here that tracks your sleep, so it's easy to get sort of hyper-focused on like, oh, I only got, less than an hour of deep sleep, which is important for like muscle recovery or something, or REM sleep. I didn't get much of that, and so usually I can just feel in the morning if I got good sleep or not, but then you can watch this and see like the data and you're like, oh, it gave me a bad grade today. And I'm pretty much a C student on this Fitbit here. Mr. Kyle, yeah, I guess that traveling actually pushes that to the limits. Well, not a good quantity of good quality sleep and water. Yeah. Just, I don't know, traveling. Very exciting. Lizzie, my wife, wants to see Green Day with tickets, flights, and hotel. Doesn't look like we can do it for under $3,000. Holy crap, what are tickets to Green Day costing these days? I know Flo was talking about seeing System of a Down was playing in Vegas, I think, with a group last year. Tickets were like $300 or something to start. That is insane to me, like way more than I could justify paying for concert tickets. And I loved going to concerts, holy cow. But even when The Cure came here, like initially the tickets were something like that. They were like $300 for the lawn. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to see The Cure. And then they had pushed back on Ticketmaster. They were one of the only artists to do so. And the prices went way down, so we were like, I don't know, $60 or something. And they're like, okay, I want to see The Cure. I'm a fan of them. I'll do that. It was way better. But yeah, what were tickets costing for System of a Down when you were looking at that?
Oh, it wasn't just System of a Down. It was
a grouping, yeah.
Yeah, no, Sick New World, which was just this last weekend, was $300 or $400 to go, and those are just lawn seats. And that's not including the fact that, you're going and you have to pay for the flight because they only do that in Vegas. And then you have to pay for lodging in Vegas.
Yeah.
But even just trying to go see the Postal Service, their tickets were like $200.
Oh.
To just go see them, and I think it was them and Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah. Okay. No, tickets are just crazy now. And I mean, I think that's kind of the only way bands are making money now. I don't know how much money they make on streaming. Like, whatever has happened with music streaming, it seems like there's not a lot of money in it anymore. So I could see touring being how you do it, but that's a lot still. I mean, that's a lot.
It's prohibitively, like, a lot. Bands that I love, I'm just not willing to pay that much to travel to go and see them.
Well, okay, once upon a time, we took a road trip. It wasn't very far because we were in New Mexico, right? From Albuquerque to Houston to see the Project Revolution tour with Linkin Park and Metallica and Deftones.
So I saw that. I went to Project Revolution 2 years in a row. It was in California, though.
Oh, okay. We did that, too. So we saw them when they were here in Albuquerque and then in Houston. Oh, man, I would have followed them all over the country. That was an amazing tour. Oh.
But that was way more cost-effective.
True. And it was cheaper to travel and cheaper to stay in hotels.
to be on the lawn for that. For a full day.
Oh, wow.
It was between $40 and $70. Like, it was like a little bit more the second year.
Those were the days. Jerry DeBach, just for protection, like in The Naked Gun, The Files of the Police Squad. A full body one. Yes, that would be, I'm sure, highly effective. Oh, Paul. Less sleep, less physical health, less REM sleep. You find it harder to concentrate and work things out. Yeah, that would explain some things. JP got rockets. I watched the Sam Lenz video on blending today. Paul, I'm never sure about adding to my style. I don't want it to look the same as everyone else. I think you've heard me talk about that before. Yeah, I think we talked about that at AdeptiCon, right? Where sort of the top artists in the community right now tend to lead the way on what everyone is doing. And I mean, they do great work.
But it all looks the same.
It starts to have a sameness because like the new thing is, I don't know, wet blending or glazing or oils or whatever. So, I mean, I think it's valuable to try all of the styles if you're trying to expand your artistic knowledge of it. It seems good.
Expand your knowledge on it and then decide what you like best and what works best for you.
Right, because you could always incorporate like a part of it. You don't have to do the whole process, I would think, or see how some part that they're doing on oils would actually work well for acrylics or something. I don't know. This is not my wheelhouse, but if you are trying to be an artist, it is good to push the boundaries of your knowledge. Jeremy, I have to go stop a shoplifter. I'll be back, hopefully. Okay, you get him, Jeremy. I'm in a financial situation where I can only buy one bottle at a time, and this was it. Ah, no, Mandragora, no. All right, well, you got two options. Find a way to make this resin bottle work, or complain like hell to the company until they replace it, because if they sold you a bad product, they need to make good on it. Sweep the leg, Jeremy. Oh, gotta love it. Mandragora, possibly try printing some Nurgle-sized minis. Not using much resin, but see results with different settings. There you go. JP Gal Rockets. Hot peppers is a home remedy for my cold. Big plate of nachos. Oh, I love me some jalapenos and green chili. In fact, years and years ago when I had gone to LVO, I ended up picking up the flu, I think, while at LVO. And all I wanted to eat was green chili, and I could not find it anywhere in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's because you're in Vegas.
We're not that far. Like, green chili. There's green chili in China. There could be green chili in Vegas somewhere. It was a horrible thing. So, anyway.
It's grown in popularity, so it's more available now than it ever was, but...
Yeah.
No, my family, when I would come out here and visit during the summer, they would make sure I came back with, like, a garbage bag full of green chili.
Yep. Makes sense. Paul. My favorites are habanero and Carolina Reaper. Nice taste and hotness. Scorpion just tastes of pain. It does. It is pain. I have to just scale it back and know that my limit is somewhere before that. JP Got Rockets. Planes are horrible. The train is so much less hassle, but it's been 30 years since I've been on a train. The train was really nice. It was chill. We got to hang out with the conductor, like, for a decent part of the trip, because where the jackass is coming back from AdeptiCon playing a murder on a train board game, like, in the middle of the event. So he's like, what are you guys doing? And so he was, like, just hanging out watching us play for a while. It was great. But yeah, so we learned about train signaling and train stuff. It's really cool. If you bring a second human being as a carry-on for the train, they wouldn't blink. That'd be amazing. Andrew, those iPhone sleep apps are like Scientology. Keeps telling you you're not doing well enough and you spend money on their advertisers. Maybe. I do not pay for my Fitbit app, so at least there's that. Jack Meridew, hello. God, I'm old. I remember seeing the System Open for Corn and Machine Head at the Irving Plaza. I'm pretty sure I've seen Corn in concert, because we used to have Ozfest come through here, and I would go to Ozfest.
I missed out on a lot of concerts.
I had sort of like this cool few years in college where I was able to go to a bunch of shows, and then the weight of life and responsibility took me away from all of it. Now I'm just like, I'm gonna go see The Cure. I'm so excited. We're all gonna
get to bed. That was a lot of fun, though.
It was really good. Nosebleed seats are about $400 each. That's
yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank you. JP, I'm old. I had Disintegration on tape. Oh, I love it. These are great. These are great songs, though, and they are kind of timeless, right? Like, music, when good, is, to span generations. It's not just like, it's just old. We don't listen to it. Like, people today listen to Jimi Hendrix. Young people today listen to that. The new metal and the proper rock and metal era. People still listen to Nirvana. Like, those are all classic musical things. So it's just cool that you got to see it when it first came out, and you got to see the cultural imprint it had at the time, as opposed to like now when people just sort of take it for granted. But I mean, some of the best music we ever had was in the 90s, in my opinion. So varied. It was amazing. Very exciting. This is Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, someone else, and the Linda Lindas. I traveled everywhere to see U2, but going to Ireland to see them was probably 4K in 2001. Oh, wow. Then you get to be in Ireland, which is pretty cool. Heading out for the night. Take it easy, War Budgies. I want to see that Ravage Star Learn to Play video when you get a chance, or whenever it's up. Let me know. Cradle of Filth are playing in my city in November, but I'd rather just see this. I'd rather see the support band, the Butcher Babies. Oh my goodness, who names these? Paul? All right, Mandragora. Facebook group basically says company went out of business. So it must have gotten a batch from a seller who was liquidating bad stock. Facebook says their product became trash a few years ago. This sucks. Is there any way to return it then as a bad product? If you got it on maybe Amazon or something, they might make the seller refund you or something on it. I mean, if it's a bad batch, like, you shouldn't have wasted your money on it. And you wouldn't have if you had known. Mr. Kyle, I've been in a very nice chain restaurant with some Latin food in Vegas. I guess it was Chipotle? Not sure if it had that pepper you've mentioned. No idea. Chipotle I've eaten at exactly one time. It's okay. It's so overrated. But I feel that way about basically all food. Mandragora, looks like I need to go back to Anycubic and stay on it. Higher cost be damned. I mean, it's a waste of money if you're getting zero product out of your resin kit. So even if it's higher, but you actually get stuff, then that really was the only cost. JP got rockets. Best bowl of green chili I ever had was in downtown Durango, Colorado. Well, you need to come to New Mexico because we are the green chili capital of the world. We won that lawsuit or whatever stupid fight we had between us and Colorado. And frankly, our chili is better. We have Hatch, and it is so good. It is heavenly. Again, they sell Hatch green chili in China. It's so popular. So if you're coming into town, JP, I will show you the light.
Like, that's the way to get every New Mexican angry, is to be like, Colorado has the best green chili. No.
I know, right?
We will fight you on this.
It was such a weird thing when they were trying to go for that, like, green chili capital of the world, and we're like, what? Like, no.
You didn't even know it existed.
No. You have other things going for you. Let us have this. Paul, I saw Papa Roach when they only had their first album, barely in their first few singles. Yeah, I liked them for sort of a hot minute. I think I liked like 2 of their songs, and I bought the album and I was like, this sucks. You ever had that happen? You know, you get all excited about the radio play songs, then you get the album and you're just purely disappointed in every other song on the album. Tommy would love this. My first ever copy of Thrasher magazine had an article about The Cure in it. They also highlighted Faith No More. Oh yeah, he loves Faith No More for sure. He'd love that for sure. Very exciting. I spent $65 to be 30 feet from Regina Spektor. I'm not spending $400 to be a mile from Billy Joe Armstrong. Yeah, no, I agree. It's absurd. Pete's Fried Chicken Gaming. Hello. Hiya, Miranda and friends. Love that Mortarian. I'm hoping to get my Judge Dredd miniature game by Warlord either today or tomorrow. Other than that, I'm playing Kill Team and Don't Look Back. I don't know what Don't Look Back is. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I've never played it.
Ooh, I'm unfamiliar. But glad you're enjoying some Kill Team. And yeah, the Judge Dredd game looks really fun. I'm a fan of Warlord, though, so there's that. Andrew, green chili is overrated. Green chili is where it's at. Yes. Exactly. Freebird's better than Chipotle. See, there you go. Everyone's got their preference. Hold up, Ravage Star worth backing? I've seen it, but never pulled the trigger. I'm worried about a weak system. I don't know. I mean, it's got support, so I mean, I wouldn't worry about it like being a fly-by-night thing. But, well, War Budgies is going to put out a 5-minute how-to-play video, so I feel like that might be really like a way better tell as to whether or not you'd be interested in it. Mini Wargaming's super supporting it, and they were offering demos at AdeptiCon, which I didn't end up playing, so unfortunately I can't tell you about it. Warlord also had a demo for like this kind of smaller scale tank battles game, which I really wanted to try, and then didn't get back around to that either. So yeah, Ravage Star, the models look fun. It's just, I don't know anything about the lore. I don't have any kind of investment in it yet, you know? Like, War Machine, you love, like, because the lore is so cool, and the concepts are so cool of what a Warcaster is, and what a Warjack is, and, like, oh, it's just one of my favorite IPs ever. And then, like, Warhammer has a lot of lore, and and some of it's more likable than others, but there's just so much of it. And, you know, you listen to these lore videos, like Luton talk about all of these really cool and amazing aspects of the game. And so then you're like, yeah, I want to play it, and it sounds really fun. And I don't know anything about Ravaged Star or its story or its lore. So I think it makes it a little bit harder to get just invested in just playing with miniatures. Like, it's nice to have a setting. For me, it's nice to have a setting that I'm playing against instead of like just random dudes, which I guess is kind of where historicals can be really strong, right? Because you don't necessarily have to go learning all of the historical stuff if you already know history and you get into these armies. So anyway, strength to bolt. 2 bolt action, I suppose. We will F up Colorado, Green Chili. That's right, very exciting. Paul, yeah, yes, that happened. I bought Papa Roach's 3rd album. Every song but the single sucked. Threw it out. Ugh, I hate it when that happens. Mike, Mortarian's gonna wreck Max for the BMF belt. Great job painting going on there. That's coming from Mr. Mike. Andrew, has anyone gotten into Helldivers 2? No. But Paul and I did recently finish playing Resident Evil 5, which was really fun. So, no, I haven't followed that. I still like Lethal Company, still like Phasmophobia, and frankly, Stardew Valley just had a big update, so I don't mean to brag,
I already
but
started that.
we've got Paul and I have a communal farm. You can come join us.
Thanks.
No, you can come join us.
After the fact, I see how it is.
Oh my gosh, we just started it. And Paul, in typical Paul fashion, is like how the first relationship he maxes out is with the pet, the cat. Like, I love this game. So no, Helldivers. I'm sure it's perfectly fine, but and I think I mentioned this before on like another stream. I mentioned it a lot because someone showed it to me. I think Paul. Like 60%, over 60% of gaming in 2023 were people playing games 6 years or older, and this whole new hotness of changing games every month. And maybe Helldivers has a little bit more staying power, but it seems like that has been a flavor of the month thing on Twitch. Sounds frankly exhausting. So it's like, I just want to know the few good games and just play those. I still play Majora's Mask every like year or two, just over and over, because it's just like my favorite game of all time. And so like, as long as I can just have the things I know are good, I don't have to worry about like something new coming along that could be just awful and insulting. It's great. So no, sorry, haven't gotten into Helldivers.
Watch people play it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even doubt that it's probably fun. It's just like, how much energy do you have to try yet another system or yet a new thing?
My computer probably wouldn't be able to run it right now. It's still doing the thing. So.
Oh yeah, there's that. Pete's Fried Chicken, Don't Look Back, is an 80s and 90s horror movie minis game where you play against an AI-controlled killer. It's a great system and really thematic, done by Blacksite Studios. Oh wow, that sounds like something you'd dig. I'd give that a go. JP, Ravaged Star has good people behind it. Felt like it was 40K with a D10 instead of a D6, so better math than D6's give. There you go. Mike, I for one welcome our new green overlords. Green chili. It's happening. I'll die on that hill. We do have the best green chili. New Mexico does not have a whole lot going for it. You know, there's very specific things, and green chili, mercifully, is one of them. It's amazing. I wonder if Warcasters ever get con crud. It's a good question. I don't know. Do any of them ever get sick? Haley got really sick, and then she died and then plucked herself back out of time. Nemo just got old, and then his daughter took him and put him in the machine against his will. And then everyone else has just been, like, shot. Denegra, she got stabbed. She didn't come back from that. Didn't get sick, though. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you'd think if you were ever near the Shard Isles, you would have something from that. Anyone suffering from the AOS retired army situation? Well, I imagine so. 80 some odd models getting retired. Very dramatic culling of the herd. Orcs for the win. Yeah, I don't know. Is anybody excited about like the new Age of Sigmar? Like the new stuff coming out? It did seem like a bit of a lukewarm reveal. I wasn't at the reveal. I just saw the I think I was watching Valrak's like reaction to it live. And I mean, a lot of people were kind of like, okay, that was the reveal. Like, So, I don't know. But I haven't gotten into Age of Sigmar or fantasy. Like, I've liked the models and I've been tempted for a long time, but it's really hard to pull the trigger on yet another new thing. Like, how many models do I need, right?
Well, it's a good thing you didn't buy just before this happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know. Jack Meridew just got back into War Machine after Mark III destroyed my meta. I hear ya. Agreed about the IP, ended up with Legion 2.0 and Shadowflame, and now that Circular Boros and Menoth are gone. I know. Shadowflame Shard, I have the starter box for that, actually. And it's interesting, like, do you read the lore through the app? Like the little lore bits where you're following, I think it's, it was Saren's sister, is it Rias? And she's, like, building up this whole army again. Yeah, after like fleeing and hiding from Everblight. I don't know. I mean, the new direction seems fine. Very exciting. I'm really good at dying for managed democracy in Helldivers 2. Don't get the reference. Paul, on Stardew Valley, it's called Kador Farm. Kador's collective farm. Yes. Andrea, yes, for the motherland, of course. My youngest, Eleanor, baby Holly, plays Stardew. I'll see if she's plugged in the update, into the update. Yeah, no, it seems like a massive, massive update. Like, we're just starting over again because there's so many things that are different. Don't wound me with unended lore. Sorry, Magikarp. Paul, yeah, that was me mentioning it. A huge percentage of people are playing games 6 years or older. And it's because you want to play something you know is good. Like Left 4 Dead 2.
You want to play something that's actually finished.
Now, admittedly, I still, well, yeah, there's that. Darktide, like, I still promote, I think Darktide's great. I think the company's really good and is trying to make really good on their game. It didn't come out completely finished, and they had bugs to work out and all that, but it's pretty smooth now, and they've updated a lot of stuff. Enough so that it's actually getting a little bit complicated, like the talent trees now are a bit much, but it's super fun. It's varying degrees of hard. I think if you go into a private game, everything's much, much harder. But it's fun. So that's a newer game, I guess, that, you know, I'm enjoying. But then, like, yeah, Left 4 Dead 2, Resident Evil 5, Phasmophobia. I don't know, how old is Phasmophobia now? It's not 6 years old, but it's getting older. And that game holds up just fine because the concept is so strong. JP, I have it on good authority that Sorsha never catches cold. Something about having a coal fire boiler strapped to your back. That helps, and I feel like Sorsha, in particular, would never be affected by the cold, having the super icy death stare. Thomas, Denegra got ripped in half, but she got better as undead. She's a Lich Lord now. Sounds about right. Very exciting. The thing about Helldivers is I have very little gaming time. I can grab it, play a mission, die a bunch, kill some robots or bugs, get out and go on with my day. That is brilliant. That's actually my very favorite thing about my Nintendo Switch. Because I bought the Nintendo Switch to play Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. So I only got it like a year ago. And then I got the Nintendo Shop so I could play like original NES Zelda, which I beat while I was sick. Actually, right before I got sick, I'm like, I'm going to beat all of the Zelda games. And so I beat Zelda 1. I'll have to go through it again with the new randomized like stuff, but I beat the first run through of it. And I'm about to beat Zelda 2, which is so weird. Such a weird game, but almost through that. And then maybe like replay, because I've played like Link's Awakening, Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds. I haven't played Wind Waker, so I have to figure out how to make that happen. Minish Cap was super fun. Anyway, what I'm saying is I would play these games on the Switch, but the nice thing is at any point in the game at all, you could just be like, pause, hit the little power button to make the thing go to sleep, and go on. And just being able to do that is incredible, because as much as I love Darktide, you get into a mission, you are strapped in for 20 to 40 minutes, depending on how fast you can go through it. You can't go to the bathroom. You can't answer a phone call. It's just go, 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 and kind of stressful. So games that you can just pause and walk away from, that's nice. That's all I'm saying. Even Stardew, you kind of have to wait until like you sleep, right?
I mean, you don't have to, but it's definitely the way you should do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Still want to know what happened with Everblight versus Crick's Athank fight. The Circle Dragon plot. The Lael Menoth escalation. Well, Menoth just fled. The, what are they called? My new least favorite faction. Oh yes, the Infernals. The Infernals just sort of came in and just tainted everything, and I really, really extremely dislike their story apparently, but it seemed like a big distraction. Then you have the Hengehold Gate, and everybody fleeing through this portal, and just massive culling of characters and factions. So, yeah, everyone just got distracted with that, I guess. I do miss the old stories. I mean, I still have the old Privateer Press Prime magazines. And, like, you read back through some of the old stuff, and you're like, oh, yeah, the Gavin Kyle files. Like, this spy master who would have dossiers on different characters in the lore. What a wonderful, amazing article. And what a delightful magazine that was. Like, it just... all of that stuff was so fun to read. And then you'd get, like, the new army book, and you'd have the lore that was associated with that. And I was always weaker on knowing what the Horde stuff was, but all of the War Machine stuff, like Apotheosis coming out, was super cool. Just, man, I feel like it all went downhill with Infernals. I know. But that's neither here nor there. So you have an extra sorcerer or two. Should I paint one up as Elsa, as the cold doesn't bother her anyway? No, the Snow Queen, the traditional Russian Snow Queen, obviously.
Yes.
That would be my take, because Elsa, frankly, is lame. Also, in my humble opinion. Thomas, I painted Chibi Sorsha for Miranda. She came out pretty nice. She did. I have her. She's lovely. I need to get her on the... I have her at my house, actually, so I'll have to get her on the turntable at some point. There's a 1 gigabyte update for Darktide today. There's so many big, chunky updates for that. There's Old Hammer for those playing old versions of Warhammer. Is there old Warhammer Hordes? There is, yeah. There's still people playing just the 3rd edition and just enjoying that. So, yes. Now, where is that? And is that specifically in New Mexico? I don't know the answer to that. But nothing stops you from being able to play the old rules, because if you have the old... well, you'd have the old War Room update rules. You'd have to just know the rules from somewhere. I'm trying to think of where you'd get them. The old rule book, I suppose. And I'm sure it's online, actually. But, like, the new rule set isn't bad. It's interesting. Unit movement is very interesting. And I think a lot of the spirit of the game is there. So, but it comes down to the meta. Like, if I was hanging out in with the Delaware crew, I would definitely 100% be playing Mark IV, because those folks are so wonderful to be around. Here, I'm a little bit isolated, and I'm like, hey, do you want to learn Mark IV? Do you want to learn Mark IV? And I'm alone. Phasmo appeared on Steam in early access in September of 2020. Okay, so almost 4 years old. It's getting there. It's getting there. Helldivers 2 is Starship Troopers, the video game.
Yes.
That does sound really fun.
Yeah, that's actually why I've been watching it, and it's exactly what it is.
Is it? All right, yeah. That's a hell of a selling point. I don't have time for this.
I was going to say, I know my computer would not run it at this point because it's having trouble running the most basic games. It still runs Stardew, but...
yeah, there you go. JP, Thomas Grable, I've not had the opportunity to try doing the chibi-style figures. What would you say is your biggest challenge with that style? Jeff Setzer, hello. My lifelong gaming friends just busted out Mordheim a few weeks ago. Building a crew myself now. Isn't it a wonderful game? I have the Steam game for it, so like that's really mostly my extent. But yeah, Mordheim. God, how old is that game now? Is it 20 years like out of print now? I mean, it's been a long time, but people have kept it alive because it's such a strong either, I don't know if it's the gameplay that necessarily does it, but probably the world and the aesthetic. Like, it's just cool as hell. We'd had a Mordheim board a few years coming to Valhalla, and it's always one of those eye-catching boards that you just walk in and you're like, whoa, I want to take a look. There's all these different levels, and of course it's like immaculately painted and gorgeous. Ugh. And so No, Mordheim is a great example of, like, when are we going to see that again? Who knows?
For chibi figures, are you asking about what's difficult about printing or about painting them?
Probably painting them. He's asking Thomas, but you've painted chibi, or yeah.
I've been painting them recently, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, what is your biggest challenge then?
So it depends on what type of chibi figure you're painting. If you're painting something that is traditionally more realistic looking, that does make a chibi figure a lot harder. You really have to make them more cartoon-like if you're going to paint them chibi. Otherwise, it looks weird.
Like, you can't really paint them realistically. You
Yeah.
make brighter colors.
I mean,
or...
you can, but they kind of look like bobbleheads rather than.
Oh, so what's the style?
Yeah, picking your style.
Okay.
And then just knowing how to achieve that style.
Mr. Kyle, is Denegra in the present, or did she also fled to the future? No, I'm pretty sure she's in the present. I don't think she ever... She did not leave, to the best of my knowledge. I can't remember. It's been years now since I read that. JP, sweet. Some have said that it was GW's finest product. Specifically, Thomas Pernin says so. But so do many others. Adam from Tabletop Minions recently had a video kind of repeating, like, that sort of sentiment as well, like, Mordheim's great, why not bring back Mordheim? And I think it was in commentary to all of the AOS changes, right? Thomas, very exciting, yes, Helldivers and Starship Troopers, the lore is so good, I can't help but play as the major orders tell me. Nice. Thomas, maybe the huge head with a few bony structures for highlights. Paul, you can pause single player Stardew, just not co-op, unless you stop in a bed, then you fall asleep. Same as everyone else. Fair enough.
You can sleep for a few hours and come back if you're playing multiplayer.
Oh.
Found that out recently because I did play multiplayer for the first time recently.
Yeah. Very exciting. Team Elsa. No. I hated that movie.
I didn't hate the movie, but I'm just kind of, in general, for a long time, been disenchanted by Disney, so...
Yeah, I mean, how do you beat some of the old classics, right? Like, Sleeping Beauty is probably my favorite, but yeah, like the 90s had an amazing renaissance of movies, and then I don't know, just Elsa, maybe it's an age thing, but part of it's just like the story, I don't know. I had a lot of issues with it. That's more of a deep dive thing. I can go on, but anyway, you still play Civilization 4. I think it's
5.
6. Is it 5 or 6?
I have 5 and 6.
Yeah, there was a crazy, like, 90% off sale, so I got one of the Civ games for like $6. So I was like, well, yes. And then obviously I don't know when the hell I'm going to play it, so it is what it is.
I love Civ.
It looks fun as hell. I want to play it so bad. Mr. Kyle, LOS War Machine University just went offline last week. Quickly fixed, but honestly, small heart attack. Yeah, no kidding. That's like kind of an era lost. Mr. Kyle, not so sure I will be able to play Mark III for too long. You know, like when Brawl Machine, at LOS, they came out with Brawl Machine, right? Like, I feel like there's going to be some fan version or something that comes out, like parallel game structures for people who just want to be able to play with their own old models. And I know you can technically do that in, was it Unlimited? Can't remember what it's called. I think it's Unlimited for War Machine. But I don't think there's events that are going to necessarily support that anymore. It doesn't seem like there are. Not so sure I'll be able to play Mark III for too long. I'm sorry. Denegra is in the present and Dark Host for Legacy. Okay. JP got rockets. Makes sense. Thomas Grable Chibi is more fun from the 2D. Makes sense that the bone structure might be strange in 3D. So is Denegra undead now? Oh, she's been undead for a long time. Her second form is undead. Like epic Denegra. Thomas, Mr. Kyle, Denegra was living. Denegra 2 is undead, and then her third incarnation is a Soul Reaver. Very exciting. Okay, last before I go, sold me on Helldivers. So there were pictures showing up of flying bugs. The CEO of the company said there are no flying bugs, and a couple of weeks later they announced they just discovered flying bugs. So stinking good. Okay, that's pretty solid. I like that kind of marketing. Some of the narrative game were at the unlimited format at AdeptiCon. Oh, good. I didn't know that. I didn't end up seeing that anyway. So I love that. That's great. Yay. So I feel like we covered some of the health stuff. Don't get sick. Stay hydrated. Don't eat like crap. Don't eat gamer food all the time unless you're really acclimated to it. Practice good hygiene. You know, wash your hands after you use the bathroom. Whatever. Normal stuff. Get enough sleep. Avoid close contact. No, I can't do that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
we're gonna be giving people hugs and stuff. Y'all is just gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah, and so like, that's just an acceptable risk. Sorry.
You do enough close contact over time, and your body will get used to close contact.
Yeah, it's like be better. Just be better. Be active. Trying to keep up with exercise routine. I try to keep up with an exercise routine at the hotel. It's not super easy, but more hotels have gyms now, which is nice.
I did not do any of that, mostly because I had not done that much walking since I had broken my ankle, and so like it was actually kind of painful towards the end there. I was like,
yeah, I know. I mean, there's a lot of square footage. The new Milwaukee event probably ain't gonna be easier on you either. So.
No, but I'm working out a lot more.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I started working out before I left, but you know.
Yeah, travel also wrecks that. So trying to stay active, do what you can. Pack a health kit was one of the things, and I think that's more of like
Emergency
a vitamin regimen, and I would say pre-game that, like a week before you leave, start loading up on vitamins, not just while you're traveling. Because usually, like I pack emergency, and I'll be in the middle of my trip and be like, oh yeah, I should take one of those. But really, ideally, I think you take it like before, like at least a few days before you travel, and that should make that easier. And then yeah, like if you're feeling like you're not getting enough sleep or you're really treating yourself like trash during an event, you might step out for a little bit. Maybe not all day, but a little bit. So I feel like we were all, and wear protection, as Jerry points out, just full body naked gun protection the whole time. That will do something. Cons are good for getting your steps in. Yeah, I was over 10,000 steps every day. Got a high from Chris Bello and Miranda ran into him. Yeah, I was wearing my little Cadian helmet. In that, it's like a little fishbowl. Like, you can't hear hardly anything on the outside. So, like, Chris, like, comes over, and he's like, oh, he has his camera up, and I'm sort of, like, just doing some motion stuff. Like, I think I was, like, it looked like a still camera. And so I was, like, posing for him. And he's like, you know this is video, right? And I was like, huh? So that was really embarrassing. So there you go. Now you know that. But, yeah, Chris is sweet. He was helping give me airbrush advice. Especially wearing protection while you're hugging people. Yes, thank you, Jerry. They call me bland, but I like, but my ideal spice is salt and pepper. Both of those are amazing spices. Don't get me wrong. I put pepper on all kinds of stuff. Oh, especially eggs.
Yeah, I like to add garlic to a lot of things, though.
So there was another thing I wanted to bring up, because I don't know if you guys saw my last White Dwarf review, but I was commenting on how a lot of this is a bit of a change of subject, but, you know, guys keep talking, about how a lot of the lore that's getting written now is just sort of very samey. Like, there's no heroes, everybody's kind of, like, out for themselves. I was talking specifically about, like, the cults of Sigmar, in the city of Hammerhall, I want to say, and they were talking about, like, or the story in there is like the spy master who's studying the different varying cults of Sigmar, and all of them are bastards, of course, like every single one of them. They worship Sigmar, but they hate each other, and there's a bunch of backstabbing and conniving and yada yada yada. Like every stereotype you make about religion is just all in there, and I was commenting on how boring that is to read, because that's kind of like all you read anymore. And so just thinking about, you know, why people write that kind of stuff. And one of the arguments you hear is, oh, well, it's realistic. It's what real people do. And it's like, yeah, some of them, but you know, it's like not the only thing people do. You know, people have done like good things in the history of the world, right? And that got me down a rabbit hole, which is like my segue into, like, while I was sick and I wasn't watching either The Fifth Element or The Mummy on repeat, I was watching this amazing YouTube channel I discovered, and maybe you guys have heard of him. He's called The Fat Electrician. And he has these amazing true stories about military stories in history. So Vietnam stories, World War II, both European and Pacific theater stories, World War I stories, stories about just these different weapons that have gotten invented. And there's just amazing stories of heroism, and they're true stories, right? So, you know, you want to talk about realism. This is like the type of stuff I would love to read about more, even in fiction. Not like verbatim, and not everybody needs to be that way, but, you know, once in a while, if someone can be that way, I feel like that would add some variety, a spice, if you will.
Well,
but if you ever
adds, like, to have that glimmer of hope really adds a lot to a story. To have that, like, one person against the odds.
Or beating the odds, or having something being worth fighting for. Like, if the whole world's just terrible all the time, why do you care about saving it? So it's like, yeah, that's sort of the human condition. It's like the good and the bad. And it seems like we just overly focus on, like, negative, nihilism. Everybody's a jerk, everybody's selfish, everybody's... And it's boring. It's just as boring as everybody being a personality-less hero. So all that to say is I've been enjoying these true stories from this guy, The Fat Electrician. Totally worth checking out his YouTube video, his channel. There's just, like, there are some stories that just make you want to cheer, and they're so, like, ballsy, and just there's so much sass to them, and there's some that you're just like, wow, that person has sacrificed so much. Like, oh my gosh, it's absolutely incredible. So I highly recommend them. He has a really amazing video on, like, the Berlin airlift. I wrote a few down. The 77th Infantry Division, never heard of. They were called the Old Bastards. They were just people that were, like, I don't know, 30 to 40 who were in World War II, who were just tearing new buttholes out of the enemy, like, doing amazing work. Arthur Wormuth, who is the Ghost of Bataan out in the Pacific Theater. Sir Douglas Bader, I think Bader. He was a double amputee who flew for the Royal Air Force and was a badass pilot. Like, just, where are the movies about these people? Lafayette Poole, the real war daddy, not the one from Fury, but the real one. His story is even more interesting. Like, I would love to see a story about that. And then he did a recent video on the 11th Airborne Division, who raided the Los Baños internment camp in the Philippines. And holy cow, that story should be a movie. It's so beautiful and, like, tragic and sad and heartbreaking, but also, like, real heroics and real just amazing moments of, like, again, like, the human spirit, the human condition, like, the stuff that's interesting. And so if you ever feel like, you know, all you're doing is reading, like, bad, boring, bland, like, edgelordy stuff, and people are like, well, that's just real life, man. Like, no, it's not, actually. There's lots of heroes in history. Just actually read history. Maybe take some inspiration from that and write some better stories. So anyway, it's a tirade. It wasn't done. It's really, like, I don't even hate nihilistic stories. Well, I guess I do kind of hate nihilistic stories, in fairness. I just want variety of stories. I want
You're like,
cornucopia of characters.
Hate them the first few times, but
yeah,
after the several hundredth time,
just darkness, no parents, like, just Lego Batman is all that plays through my head. Just this is what you've got. So anyway, there's that. So I don't know how you guys feel about that. I don't know what some of your favorite stories. I feel like the Gaunt's ghost stories have genuine heroics in them. It's probably part of why they are so popular. I need to still do my review of the first one. I actually am going to do that. But I've actually gone through 3 of the books, and yeah, like, Gaunt is dudes, like, hero, anti-hero, like, behaviors in there that make them interesting. And it makes it a better book series. Miranda sent me The Fat Electrician, worth it. Yeah, well, so he's also had small video vignettes on, like, different weird weapons that have been tested in history, or tanks. We listened to one earlier on the bazooka tank, which
is kind of amazing.
It is. And, you know, it's not for the children. Like, he swears a lot in the video, so just fair warning on that. But he's talking about this tank that has like 6 recoilless rifles attached to it to basically make it this big bazooka tank. And how incredibly effective and bananas and off the walls it was. And it was like a contract between like the Marines and farmers to make this weapon. And you're just like, I love it. I love everything about this because it's so
off
fun.
the wall.
It's off the wall, but it's like effective. So yes, Feliz Cinco de Mayo. Oh, thank you, Jerry. We'll be coming up on that, won't we? It's a movie. I think it's called The Raid. It stars Jimmy Smith. Yes, I have heard about The Raid. It's apparently on Tubi, and I'm planning to watch it. It's just kind of long, so I haven't been able to like set it as an evening watch just yet. So probably a weekend one for me. Yeah, Paul, he does a video about the XM29 rifle that I've used in video games, but kind of was never used ever. Yes. Does anyone have the name of the channel Fact Latricia? I don't know that one. Miranda, about the repetitive tropes in media, is that the only Warhammer lore? Let's see. Is that only on Warhammer lore? Or are you noticing that in other media and movies? Oh, I've noticed it. Yeah, all media, yeah. Like, the stories I read in White Dwarf is just one of the many things. Like, most movies you go see, you're like, what the hell am I even watching? I watched Beekeeper earlier this year. I'm like, was this written by an AI? Like, what is happening in this movie? It's just bizarre. The Meg, movies that just have no real, like, I think, Skyscraper, was that the one? It had The Rock and like Nev Campbell in it, where there's like these really bland action movies that have like everyone's sort of following these steps of I'm an action hero and I'm gonna take the monster, but like there's no human connections between anybody. Like in the weird Skyscraper movie, I think Nev Campbell was like married to The Rock. You couldn't tell. So like romance or any sort of, again, like human connections are all just these weird, like sterile things. And you see that a lot in movies. We saw the movies we've seen lately in the theaters, the 25th anniversary of The Mummy and the 45th anniversary of Alien we saw last night, which, holy crap, I've seen that. I've seen Alien
I really wanted to do that, but like, my health came first.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Don't need like these super quiet scenes just right next to me. But like seeing Alien in the theater is a totally different experience than watching just at home. It was like the sound, the weird buzzing you notice, the other chatter you notice. It was wild, and it was really, really cool to see. But that movie, holy cow, it takes its time. And before that, we saw The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. And it's like, that movie is based on a true story. And it's fun. It's not a bad movie, but no stakes. Like, you never feel worried about anybody. You don't even feel like there's any stakes, even though it's like a World War II story where the stakes were pretty damn high. You just don't feel it. And it's like, there's this blandification of most media and this lack of meaning in most media. Like, the things people fight for, they just kind of pull out. And so you have this weird hollow shell of like, well, why are people even bothering? Is how I take it. So yeah, it's all media, and I watch a lot of movies, and it's a trope I do see repeated over and over and over. And you see it like in some older movies. You see certain like where the writers' views come in, just fine. But anymore, it's like it's so bland and so sterile. It could almost be just propaganda. Like you're just watching something that was so safe to build that just makes bean counters happy and no one else. So yeah, my issue is along a lot of the lines. JP Garox, the 77th was Asian Guile versus Youth and Enthusiasm. Our team was old guys, and we always handed it to the younger teams. So much so that they put all the other teams on one side and told them. Let me see. Our team was old guys, and we always handed it to the younger teams. Okay. You're against Team Ronin. Good luck. Huh. Yeah, like their war game, in one of the stories, they're pitted against like a new team, and they just make a joke of them, like the old bastards. It's great. Let's see. Ungentlemanly Warfare is literally the life of Sir Christopher Lee. Dude was hardcore. Christopher Lee was hardcore. You learn stuff about his history. You're like, what? And then, like, in his old age, he was in a death metal band. It's like, you know what, dude? You do you. You earned it. You genuinely earned it. So, yes. Skyscraper tried to be Die Hard, but he had the prosthetic leg. Couldn't believe that was it. It was just bland. Like, I mean, even the Die Hards over time got more and more boring. There's a interesting rando video we watched the other day called What Happened to PG-13. And they had like an F-word count for like the Die Hards. And there's like 50 or something in the first one, like 100 in the second one. And then by the fourth one, there's like 1 and it's cut off. And it's like how the ratings boards have really changed their standard on what counts as PG, PG-13, and all that. But even that generation of how those movies moved on, like, you know, in the first movie, John McClane, he's potentially breaking up with his wife. He wants to get back together with her. He's trying to resolve that. He has this huge stake in her being in this building. And so you care about them. And I mean, something like The Fifth Element, which is arguably like a kind of a terrible script that makes no sense, especially the more you watch it over and over, you're like, but it's brilliant. Like, it's wonderful and so fun because you love everybody in it so much. Like, Bruce Willis knocks it out of the park. Mila Jovovich, just absolute delight. Gary Oldman kicking butt in that movie. Like, he's ridiculous and you just love him. And it's that human connection between them. Leon, the Professional, another Luc Besson flick. Leon and Natalie Portman's character, Gary Oldman again. You just are fascinated by all of them and their interest in, you know, Leon and Natalie Portman's, like, you know, relationship, that dynamic and this really, really messed up situation that she's in is so visceral and real, and you care about them. Godzilla -1 did that too. They actually gave you a human connection and you cared about these people. And then the monsters were also really cool, but the stakes were higher because you actually care about the people. And they just aren't doing that in most movies now, in most stories. And it's sad. It just makes it feel like it's wasting your time. What are your thoughts on the female custodies? Well, I think it's stupid, in short. But mostly I think it's just bad faith. Like, so officially, like, I think that whole announcement was just done to cause division. And that's the unfortunate and really, really disappointing thing that I get out of it. They put that in the codex to cause fighting. They put out that Twitter to cause more division and just get people fighting. There were already articles ready to go to tell you if you didn't like it, you're a bad person. It's not empowering to anybody. It's certainly not empowering to women. Like, very few of the women I know either care or like it. But they're also getting, like, attacked as, like, pick-me girls or bigots or whatever on the internet. So I don't think they feel very empowered, you know, having this done on their behalf and sharing their own individual opinion on it and it being treated so poorly. So I think it was just a really lousy move, in short. Like, yeah, it's a small change, whatever. That's how incrementalism works, and it's still bad. Like,
just because it's small doesn't mean it's not bad.
Well, again, like, there's a lot of issue with the way it's done. Oof, losing my voice now. And that's what a lot of people are talking about, and that's completely valid. Having an opinion and not liking it doesn't make you a bad person. And the fact that it's shaped that if you don't like it, you're a bad person, tells me that it was specifically put out there to cause division and to cause shit. And I don't respect that. I think that's a bad move. That's my take on it. So, yeah. What else have we got here? What's up, y'all? Hey, Conan. Fifth Element was awesome. No, Fifth Element is a wonderful, brilliant, amazing movie. The script is ridiculous. It's absurd. There's plot holes, there's bodies missing. Like, you watch it a few times in a row and you're like, this is actually pretty ridiculous. But you don't care because it's made with such, like...
Heart.
Well, it's made with heart. It's made in, like, good faith. It's made and as a well-intentioned movie, you know, to be fun. And you're just willing to go with that. Like, all of the actors bring such a wonderful performance, and you care about them caring about each other. It works. It works brilliantly. It's where the actors and the performances really elevate above the story. And story is really important to a movie. And most scripts right now are pretty bad. And like a lot of movies that you kind of watch and forget about and whatever, it's because the story isn't very good. And whatever the other elements are, even if they're pretty good, if they can't really knock it out of the park to elevate above a crappy script, like, it's just going to be a forgettable movie. So yeah, Fifth Element is lovely. There are over 124 uses of the N-word in Django Unchained. That's an R movie, though, right? Like, I'm pretty sure. Fifth Element, Bruce Willis, Gary Oldman, he's so wonderful. Mandragora. Lee was literally on the set of Lord of the Rings when Jackson told him how Grima Wormtongue was going to murder him, and describing the noise when he replied, "That's not what being stabbed in the lung sounds like." Yeah, no, I know that story. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine what an asshole you feel like being the guy trying to tell Christopher Lee what a dying man sounds like? Ooh, yeah. Leon taught me how to play video games. What? Mr. Kyle, is it the Fifth Element the one where the character calls Bruce Willis's character Bruce? And that scene is actually on the movie? I don't know. I don't think so, because he's Corbin Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. That took way longer than I thought. I know, right? Let's see. Jeremy, I need some tea and honey or a shot of bourbon. I know, I'm just about out of my tea. I've been drinking kava tea, which is like a stress-relieving whatever. But just keeping liquid in there. DS9 episode, The Pale Moonlight, just came on, H&I. There's so much Star Trek I need to rewatch and watch, and I can't wait. But I'm not there yet. Every time it comes up, I find myself wishing I could see it again for the first time. Do you get into reaction channels, Jeff? Do you watch those? Because that is the experience I think people get when you watch a reaction to, I saw one the other day of someone watching like The Fifth Element not The Fifth Element, the Sixth Sense for the first time. And it's funny because you kind of take it for granted, like, oh, yeah, these movies, like, everyone's seen them, right? But yeah, a whole generation of people haven't. And now they're watching them for the first time, and it's just this like really cool experience watching them react to the things that you've reacted to way back when. And so I don't know, I'm starting to kind of understand why people like reaction channels, especially like if they're watching something you love, because then it's sort of like showing it to your friend, even though you don't necessarily know them, but then you're like, oh, what are you gonna think of that? Did you catch this part? Oh, what about this part? Or if they notice something and you're like, I hadn't thought of that. So if you want to rewatch something for the first time, I think there's a ton of Star Trek reaction channels out there. Let's see. JP got rockets. It is the scene in the big gunfight so easily missed. It's kind of like when Carrie Fisher said Mark instead of Luke, and he gets carried off the X-Wing at the end. Oh, how funny. Oh, man. Conan, last week of my last semester as an undergrad, getting prepped to go into the master's program. Oh, congratulations, Conan. I hope it's treating you all right. Fifth Element is a great movie, but it's no Death Stalker 5. That's true, Jeremy. Good point. Oh, man. Jeff, you're correct, Miranda. I love that stuff. Oh, good. JP, I love watching Lord of the Rings reactions. Some are so dead set against fantasy and think it's going to be a bippity-boppity-boo. That's fair. Lord of the Rings, it made fantasy cool again. Like, being a fan of things like Lady Hawk and Hawk the Slayer and all those amazing 80s movies, it's a different vibe. And Hollywood has typically sucked at fantasy, like with very rare exceptions, like The Neverending Story or Dark Crystal. But yeah, Lord of the Rings, oof. But it helped. Like, Peter Jackson was such a champion of it. And even though he didn't, in my opinion, quite get everything, I think he still screwed up Faramir. He did a really good job on the overall movies. I do. Nice. I watched 3 reaction channels: Natalie Gold, Millennial Movies, and TBR Schmidt. Do you watch Popcorn in Bed? She's very sweet. Jeff, I'm 53. There's a lot of stuff that I've seen that people I work with have not. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, and it's nice if the people you work with are like, oh, I'm actually open to seeing this. But there is like a weird thing with the younger generation where they're like, oh, it's an old movie, I won't see that.
I mean, even DJ is that way.
Well, he's kind of who I'm referring
Younger
to.
generation.
Yeah, it's like, really? Like, it just, I don't know what that is. And
They're like, we can't watch it because the graphics aren't nearly as good. You're like, I would argue that Jurassic Park's graphics are way better than a lot of the graphics we see today.
Jurassic Park holds up. Jurassic Park holds up. Alien holds up because
Yes.
The Thing from 1980s, oh, that holds up. Oh, it's so creepy. It's so good. But I think we're seeing kind of a renaissance in some of the coming back to practical effects, because I think CGI desensitizes people enough where they're like, ugh, it's just a CGI movie, and it makes it boring. Like, how many Marvel fights do you look at, like during a Marvel movie when the fight scene starts, are you like, okay, I can go to the bathroom because I know nothing's happening now. So, yeah. My favorite is watching people watch Firefly for the first time and seeing the disappointment when it ends. Oh, Jeremy.
I mean, you kind of feel vindicated when you watch other people get upset over it too, though. You're like, yeah, we all went through that, now you get to go through it.
Yeah, except they can jump into Serenity right away and feel a little bit of closure.
No,
No?
I don't feel like Serenity gave that much closure.
It made the
They're
Reavers interesting.
It made the Reavers interesting, but I feel like in order to just put a cap on the end of the movie, they just skipped over a lot of the stuff that they actually set up.
That's fair.
And so, as far as storyline, it wasn't closure, but
Yeah. Fair enough. One of my favorite things is finding reactions to RoboCop just to see everyone lose it when the guy gets melted by toxic waste. RoboCop is brutal. It's crazy because I've watched a few reactions to that too, and I'm like, huh. I was a little kid watching, like, my youngest brother's 4 years younger than me, and we were all little kids watching this movie. We would just watch that over and over. It was his favorite movie. I'm like, oh, it's a really hyper-violent movie. Like, we didn't realize it, like, think about it, I guess. But it's crazy. Oh, man, I loved Total Recall, which also, like, the face, like, imploding or whatever from being out in the non-atmosphere. And I would watch that on repeat, too. So I feel like we need to bring these back. It clearly made well-adjusted kids. That's what I'm going with. Talk about reaction. I was the only one in my gaming group that never read the Lord of the Rings books. So I was totally blown away with the I am no man scene. Oh, yeah. Well, see, that was, like, well-placed and earned and, cool. I loved that. I love it when that happens in stories. JP Graphics holds up absolutely. The blend with practical were what sold it. Yeah, they were just tasteful about it. Jeff, they all said they were looking at me in the theater when that part of the battle came up. Serenity was like, hurry up and end it. Okay. This is Jeremy. The best is when they watch Serenity and cry when Walsh dies. Oh.
I recently watched a video of him, them giving him a line from a movie and him having to figure out what movie it was from. And I did not realize how much voice acting he has done.
Stanley, Tudyk.
Yes, Alan Tudyk.
Alan Tudyk, thank you.
Yeah, no, because he would say a line and I'm like, but that's from this movie. He did that voice? I did not know that.
Wow. No, that's pretty impressive. Oh, what else have we got? Probably wrap it up here. Mandragore, I just saw the Suicide Squad last night. Glad that RoboCop wasn't the end of that quality of combat. I wouldn't give, well, I don't know, Suicide Squad, I guess. RoboCop's a very weird movie, so maybe it is fairly equivalent to Suicide Squad. I didn't care for that, but, I watched it as an adult. RoboCop, where the MC dies and they still make him go to work. Main character, yes. JB, worst movie sword fight was the end of the third POTC flick. It was so long that I forgot what they were even fighting about. Yeah. Mr. Kyle, I have some bad memories on RoboCop. I remember a scene where he's chopped in pieces, and I was a kid watching it. I just called it and never came back. Oh, I don't know why. It was always like the scariest movie I ever dealt with as a kid was Ernest Scared Stupid. Like there's something about that movie that just creeped me out. I could watch like Night of the Living Dead and Total Recall and Alien and Aliens. Ernest Scared Stupid, that's what did it.
It's weird what your child brain will decide is the scariest thing, because I would watch anything except Chucky.
Oh, okay. So there's just
I
a
drew the line at Chucky.
And you do that as a kid. You have like lines, and they're kind of arbitrary, but they're there.
There was no line for anything else. But
I love it. Paul, I agree with Miranda on the Custodies. Also really liked Sword and Steel's take. No, she was so sweet. Oh my gosh, you watch that video and you're like, just want to comfort her. It's like she's very sweet and very earnest in her take, and she's totally right. So, yeah. Jeff, we actually paid allowance money and paid to watch Howard the Duck as kids. Worst movie ever. Ooh, yeah, no, I don't know. I've never seen that one. Andrew had nightmares from Richie Rich because I swear there was a scene where they tried to feed the friends to a compactor. What? Oh, Richie Rich with like Macaulay Culkin?
I don't remember that being a scene.
I don't either. Let's see. Gotta go. If you have a good night. Yeah, we should probably bail out of here too. Howard the Duck was in theaters. Tragic. Yeah, dude, the stuff that goes into theaters these days, like that Goofy Challengers movie, instead of, like, they remade Roadhouse and that went to streaming. Like, whatever the choices being made to go to theaters, I don't know. I feel like theaters are probably, like, being held up right now by replaying classic movies. Because when Aliens comes out, I'm definitely going to go see that one in theaters. Heck yeah. All right, well, thank you all so much for joining me. I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it out here before my voice totally goes out. And thank you so much for joining and hanging out. Great chat, great conversation. Hopefully you learned some travel tips to not get sick when you travel, or maybe I will learn some tricks and follow my own advice. We'll see. But check out the Fat Electricians channel if you want to hear some actual true stories about real heroes. Oh, there's such good videos. If you don't mind the swearing, I love it. So definitely check that out. But I'm going to have the outro, so I'll be in the chat here for a little bit if you want to ask other questions. So anyway, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a great night.
Barry, cover me. All right, guys, this is it. Copy that. No more sandwiches, Barry. What's wrong with this place? I'm in the west corridor. I'm right outside the generator room. I'm out of bullets. Oh, Barry. success.